Good morning to our television audience worldwide and to Carol. And for our worldwide radio audience as well, the uncertainty in the United States permeates out into the global economy. Again, to the president's press conference this morning, what does he need to do about tax policy, even though he's not going to read Glenn Hubbard's book?
Well, I think the first thing is to reduce uncertainty. Long before the president should do anything affirmative, he should do that. And it's really pretty simple. It's clarifying the path we're going to take on financial regulation, on tax policy. It's saying, let's extend the Bush tax cuts until we have the next presidential election so that we can have a real debate with the American people on the size of government and how we're going to pay for it. That would clear up an awful lot of uncertainty.
I mean, I can't imagine any other president giving a Cleveland speech that we heard the other day. Defend the plutocracy, Glenn Hubbard. Defend the haves against this polarization that we hear from President Obama.
Well, we really aren't an us versus them society. The beauty of America is its very strong business sector. And about half of the people in the top 1% of the income distribution are business owners. So they're the people in our communities who create jobs, who take risks. It is not us versus them.
When you look at this, folks, and again, Glenn Hubbard with Peter Navarro, the book is Seeds of Destruction, forward by Amity Schlaze. Professor Krugman of Princeton, possibly in mild disagreement with the professor from Columbia, really is suggesting we need more stimulus. Have we proven that stimulus works? Give us the latest, the Hubbard multiplier, we'll call it. Is it working?
Well, I don't think it's working. We had a package that the Congressional Budget Office costs out at $814 billion. That's equivalent to giving almost $100,000 to every newly unemployed person. We know it didn't have a very significant effect. That doesn't mean that we couldn't have done anything. Indeed, the Federal Reserve's bold actions did help. And in public policy, there were things we could have done. Investment incentives, corporate tax cuts, payroll tax cuts, all those were possible. The president simply rejected them.
I didn't hear you say infrastructure.
Well, infrastructure is one of those things where there's a difference between theory and practice. If you tell me that there's a whole bunch of high rate of return, high social rate of return infrastructure projects immediately ready and we can fund them, I say great. In practice, that's not how it works. It takes a long time to plan infrastructure. There's a lot of pork barrel spending in infrastructure as well. So while in principle, yes, it can work, in practice, our record's pretty scarred.
Glenn Hubbard, page 199, How to Prevent Another Financial Crisis. You quote the president. It is essential that we learn the lessons of the crisis so we don't doom ourselves to repeat it. Have we learned the lessons of the crisis?
I don't think so, given the passage of the Dodd-Frank Act. At the vortex of the crisis were the government-sponsored enterprises, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. The Act is silent on them. The Act is silent on real reform for a resolution mechanism for complex financial institutions. I don't think we've learned our lesson. This financial crisis wasn't just about Wall Street greed. It was about a whole series of policy mistakes, too.